welcome to BizNews. I'm Elizabeth Dee, together with Tony Lopez.
Good evening, Beth.
Tonight we're going to talk about Arangkada, where the Philippines is supposed to move twice as fast, with the principal author of Arangkada 2010, Mr. John Forbes. Thank you for being on our show.
Welcome.
Thank you very much,
John.
Beth and Tony.
Now, you also represent AmCham to a certain extent.
Yes, I'm a senior advisor at the American Chamber, and proud to say that we are the oldest American chamber outside the United States.
Really?
We're about to celebrate our 110th anniversary next year.
Very good. That's how you love the Philippines.
Oh, I love the Philippines, truly.
Truly. And so, tell us about, for the benefit of our viewers, what is Arangkada?
Well,
what is it about?
Arangkada is an advocacy document that represents...
Arangkada is a literal word for vroom, or take off?
Well, vroom, that's exactly. It means
vroom.
accelerate, as I understand it. Like a jeepney driver, he's driving uphill, he's got a heavy load, he's in third gear, he's stalling, so he downshifts, he goes faster, gets at the gas, he gets to the top. Country can be the same. You move twice as fast, 3 times as fast.
So what is it about?
Well, it represents the views of investors, almost 300, both Filipino and foreign, who sat together in a series of focus group discussions over a year. And these were focused on the 7 big winter sectors. They were asked a series of questions about what were the reforms, what were the next steps to move these high potential growth, well, actual and potential growth sectors forward twice as fast.
So these are the business perspectives of both the local and foreigners.
Yes.
Also partly done by the Joint Foreign Chambers.
Well, Joint Foreign Chambers sponsored it, but we invited experts, investors, not so much, some academics, some government people, but generally there were actual investors who have the experience of working in the local business environment.
Okay, and you came up with 7 big winners. What are those, please?
Well, that's a good question, and it deserves a somewhat longer answer.
Yes.
Alphabetically, they're easy to remember: agribusiness, business process outsourcing, creative industries, infrastructure, which is a huge area, manufacturing and logistics, mining,
Yes.
and tourism, medical travel, and retirement. All right. Now, we didn't invent these. Everybody has been, all the analysis, the investment priority plans of the DTI over many years have identified these as the sectors with high potential. And some of them are quite well known to have potential. BPO, for example, is growing at 25%
Do you know
a year.
how much investments do these 7 industries require, and how much revenues do they deliver in a year?
Well, we did a back-of-the-envelope estimate of what the potential was, and that's in the book. And we have a slide on it that is up on our website, and I hope you'll show your viewers. The slide shows a potential of $75 billion in foreign investment, not just domestic investment, but that will also rise with the foreign investment over a period of a decade. So that's $7.5 billion per year on the average. For revenue, Tony, at least 1 trillion pesos for revenue for the government, but then the most important is the job creation.
1,000 billion pesos in revenues.
Yes, but you can do easily 10 million jobs, direct and indirect jobs. And the country, unfortunately, has been getting a very low level of FDI for
less than 2 billion a year.
Well, it was 1.7 billion last year, and it looks like it'll be about the same this year. But that's in a region last year of 70 billion, where half went to Singapore. So the Philippines, of the 6 larger ASEAN economies, the Philippines was the low rank.
Last year also China got 100 billion.
Well, China's a different case. Actually, the U.S. gets the most in the world, but it's free to move around.
But you're hoping, John, to accomplish a lot by putting this thing together, which is submitted to the government.
Yes, Beth. Yeah, the timing I think was excellent. We worked on this. The focus group discussions and the writing of the document, the research for the document took about a year and a half.
Anyway, John, these Arangkada, what are the major premises? Annual growth in GDP of what? 7 to 8%?
Oh, well, that's our first part, Tony.
Yeah.
The first part is called growing too slow.
Yeah.
So we have a section in there analyzing the level of
So it will
GDP
require
growth.
what kind of growth? 7?
Well, we're targeting, no, the analysis we have is that you have a basis of 4% that comes from the OFW remittances of almost 20 billion a year.
Yeah.
Indonesia this year is expecting 6.6% growth, and they have tiny remittances. Filipinos are much more capable going abroad with their skills and their English than are the Indonesians. If Indonesia can get 6.6% with almost no remittances, then the Philippines ought to be able to get 10%. So we really are arguing that the Philippines should strive to get 9 to 10% growth per year.
9 to 10%.
And then you'll get sustained growth over time.
Because
then you'll get poverty down.
Because 20 billion income from oil that in effect is your capital. It's 100% value-added capital.
That's almost guaranteed unless you have something that hasn't happened yet. Even in the 2008 financial crisis, remittances rose, which no one expected.
Goes by 6%.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're growing much slower than expected.
Well, not last year. Last year, 7.4% was the highest in 34 years.
Yes.
Now, there was election spending.
On the BNP side, we did 9%.
Yeah, good year. Now, this year, as you know,
4%.
well, the election spending is gone. And the government spending, as we well know, has slowed down for certain reasons. And thirdly, we're now entering we're in the beginning of a recession in Europe. We're in a slower than expected recovery in the United States, and Japan has had a tsunami and not very much growth. So the exports are slowing down now in the Philippines.
But there are other things that you mentioned that can actually assist in the growth. For example, smuggling. That's one of the things that you had as a recommendation, the anti-smuggling.
Well, definitely anti.
Yes, anti-smuggling.
Yeah. Well, there are two effects of smuggling, or at least many effects of smuggling, but one is the revenue effect. The government is not getting, somebody else is getting the revenue, and it's not the government. The second thing is it really undermines the investment climate. So if, for example, in the automotive field, the foreign manufacturers have, with their local partners, have put in $2 billion over the years, and used cars are coming in as they were flooding in at Subic for so many years while the issue was tied up in the local courts and up to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. How many tens of thousands of jobs were lost? What was the impact of that on investors? And in the oil sector as well, we lost one of the 3 refineries in the country. Now there are only 2.
Anyway, John, going back to the premises, 9 to 10% growth per year. Number 2 premise, what? Export of how much per year? 70?
Well, we like to double. And exports, if you go back 2 years ago during the recession, had fallen below 50 billion. They recovered
we could do 70.
pretty well. Well, you can do, we say double it. And in fact, the official target in the new export development plan is 110 by 2016.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Philippines has never really caught on to exports in the way that
then the third premise,
regional powerhouses
additional jobs of 1 million per year.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The jobs will come. Now, it depends on the sector. Yeah. The sectors vary in how capital intensive or job creating intensive they are.
But you're not necessarily just pushing exports. You're pushing also manufacturing domestically.
Well, we believe in that. We believe in domestic manufacturing, but the challenge there is that now that we're moving in all over the world into free trade regimes, you can't do it the old way through import substitution and high tariff or quota barriers.
So how do you fix that problem?
It's a challenge.
Most of the foreign income,
because like an answer.
Most of the foreign income will come from services.
No, well, yes, the Filipinos are very service-oriented, as evidenced by OFWs. The success of the BPO sector, which will exceed 600,000 people this year in tourism when we get the tourists here, the medical, etc. But no country has become a developed economy without an industrial sector. And I don't think that the Philippine planners should ignore it. In fact, Secretary Domingo, and we launched Arangkada at DTI with Secretary Domingo and Undersecretary Panlilio and Director General de Lima, is working now, I believe, with the Asian Development Bank on developing a manufacturing plan for the country. And I've I've never seen that done before. Before they've had sectoral plans, like
Yes.
auto parts, Beth, you recall?
Yes.
Software,
What plans
and
are
electronics.
envisioned in the manufacturing plan?
What should be in it?
Yeah. What
Well,
are the factories?
I think you should analyze which types of manufactured goods for export the Philippines has competitiveness. And we know, of course, in semiconductors, that is well established. It's a high percent of the exports. In fact, it's
60%.